Hey, Augusta Nation! I am on the Estimator Trail. It is not too far away from 5 o'clock on Friday, but life of an entrepreneur, that really doesn't mean too much. So, other than it's 5 o'clock on a Friday. But, choosing to have a good day today, and, really loving the process, and that's what keeps a smile on my face, knowing that it is a part of the process. So here in Augusta Nation, we've had some things happen as far as at the franchise level, and it's caused just some slight inconveniences and things like that. And just want to talk about and acknowledge as far as the system that we're in is the franchise, the Augusta franchise. The franchisor, Mike Andes. Many of y'all may check him out on the channel. He's literally just called Mike Andes. The YouTube channel, Landscape Business Course. Of course, he has the Augusta franchise. And, for those of y'all that are not part of the franchise, you may look in from the outside and see this guy has grown not only his local location, which is where he started, to very successful, multiple lines of businesses, tons of franchises. You may look at it and say, that's amazing. I wish I had that, and it looks easy. And Mike just put on an episode today, kind of explaining about what's going on and the difficulties that he faces, and how in business, in true entrepreneurship, if you're trying to grow and always improve yourself, and of course grow the top line and bottom line of your company, provide more for your team, and you've got a mission that is much larger than what you could even think about accomplishing by yourself, there's going to be some serious challenges along the way. He highlights, when people think of entrepreneurship, a lot of times they see the final product of what somebody like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, or just the established companies, and the finished product's great, but if you are an entrepreneur, or if you're just interested in entrepreneurship as just kind of like from the outside looking in, what keeps you going, what makes you tick and get through all the suck, is your why. And it's not the end result as far as the tangible goods. It's got to be much bigger than yourself. Even if you have a number, you should, of where you want to obtain, that number's not what does it. And there's going to be a whole lot of suck, years of suck, before you get those tangible goods anyways. So, you don't, as far as starting something from scratch, which most businesses and most millionaires, most people that are successful have done, contrary to some belief of most people that are wealthy or have things, were born into it or got a lucky break, the genetic lottery. The majority of wealth was created by people getting after it, developing value in the market, and not ever giving up. So, but through that is a ton of suck. And a lot of times where you could, people, you're sitting at a bar, or your buddies or your family, like, yeah, I understand why you gave up. You can't find labor, or this regulation, or this agency, or the market isn't good, or whatever reason that you want to have. You can come up with one to quit, and you can come up with one of why you're not getting what you want. Same could be said with an employee mindset, as far as being unhappy with where you're at, and blaming it on something else. But Mike Andes and Liz Neighbor, that whole team over there, I'm so happy to be a franchisee of that system with those people, because they've lost a ton of folks at their command center, which is basically the nuts and bolts of how we all communicate and how our systems operate, from the first phone call to invoicing to scheduling, communication to the franchisees. It's a huge part of the process, and it's super difficult to make work. And when things happen, hats off to Mike and Liz as far as, you know, they all practice extreme ownership. If you don't know what that is, or you haven't checked it out in one sentence, it's just owning every circumstance in your world, not letting circumstance dictate your outcome, and just coming up with a solution to get through it. Check out Jocko Willing's book, Extreme Ownership. It's awesome. But they embody it, they live it. Liz and Mike, everybody at that place, Lee, Lonnie, and it's what, if you don't want to be a victim, and you don't want to have a victim mentality, if you want to have control of your life, that's what you need to establish. And but yeah, Mike and Liz have been great. You know, when things happen, they own it. They are going to work, you know, and they another, I don't know, I thought it was a myth that I thought. I don't know if anyone else thought this, but you know, having, even where we're at, it's not a big business, probably big to somebody, but you know, $1 million business before I got there, you know, many moons before I got there, when I was out doing work, I had this image in my head of like, okay, $1 million business, awesome, you know, I'm gonna have, you know, people do the labor, just kind of operating the business, not gonna, you know, be out there doing it, and things are gonna be great, you know, all land of milk and honey, 20% profit margins, and not have to really worry too much. I thought that was like the sacred number. You get to $1 million, you're good. And don't get me wrong, it's not bad, but it's definitely not milk and honey, especially when you've got different goals that are much larger than that. But even at that, if I wanted to stay there, you know, like today, in a much smaller sense, you know, didn't have half my staff quit or anything crazy like that, like Liz and Lonnie and Mike are dealing with. But you know, today a ball was dropped along the line of communication from a customer. I'm the estimator, although I don't know. So last week, or actually I think it might have even been the week before, I think it was the 15th. So yeah, about 10 days ago, I went out to a property, met with a lady, super nice lady. We talked about her cacti, had a massive collection of cacti, and she had several projects she wanted done. And it's probably spent about an hour and a half. I had an umbrella, it was raining. She was out there with me, and a great conversation. Felt good about the sale, and you know, I hadn't heard nothing from her, but you know, I felt good about it. And this morning, I've got 15 estimates to do today. It's a Friday. Tomorrow I'm going to Jacksonville to get a mower, and I get a call or I get a notification from Command Center. That's the folks that handle, you know, our scheduling, or not necessarily scheduling, but a lot of communication, and there's a lot of estimates on my dispatch board, and anything client related shows up on our CRM via Command Center. So I got an urgent call. Hey, you need to call this client. She's very upset. She accepted the estimate. I pull her up in Service Autopilot. I look, I say, okay, you know, we got the deposit. She already paid. It was like $8,000 worth of work. She got half down. Several projects, she got awarded all of them. And which is great. The only problem is she accepted and paid on the 18th. And it's the 25th. And so what was missing in that chain of events, met with her, sold her, she's super happy to get the work done. I look in the account, she called on the 18th to pay, she called on the 23rd to check on the scheduling, and she called today super upset, and rightfully so. No one had contacted her about scheduling the next step of the process, the sales process. And you know, got the money, got all the way to the money, and what was missing was the communication. And so I'm like, okay, what can I do about the situation? And that's extreme ownership. Nope, the blame game is bullshit. Like, you're playing the blame game, you're thinking wrong. Like, that's not even what's important. And so extreme ownership teaches you that. And so what I did because I want to fix the situation, is I call Carol immediately. Apologize. I dropped the ball, Carol. I'm so sorry about the lack of communication. We appreciate you. We want your business. What can I do today to make it right and earn back that relationship? And she says, I don't know that I want a relationship. And, if you don't have anybody come out here, I know that I want my refund for sure. She said, but I don't know if I want a relationship with you anyways. And so, very nice, cordial lady. Wasn't cussing at me or anything, but even if she was, whatever. That's on me. The owner of the business, gotta take ownership. So, and I could have said, well, whose fault is this? That doesn't matter. What matters is we have a customer, and we might have a shot of saving her, possibly. So we've got McKeith. He was on a project today. Call him, say, hey man, where you at on this project? I'll be done at 1 o'clock. I think this is like 10 o'clock by this time in the morning. And I was like, all right. So I call the client that he's working on. I say, hey, you don't owe me this, and feel free to turn me down. But if there's any way possible, if we could stop this project, I've got an emergency client situation we dropped the ball on. Would love to show some good faith and come to our property today. Can we come back on Monday? She says yes. I say great. Call McKee. Say, hey man, this is what we're doing. Meet me over there. And granted, I've got 15 estimates to do, and everything in my body wants to go and just get that work done, no matter what. I left the phone call with the client that was unhappy. Not sure if we're gonna mend the relationship. Not sure if I've got to give her a refund. But I know in my soul that I've got to do everything I possibly can, and I want to go do the work. Like, I want to just see it to completion. But at this stage in the business, I don't really have that that luxury. I've got to stay in my lane a lot of times. And so I met with McKee, gave him the rundown, sent him the project video, showed him everything that needed to be done, and I still couldn't leave. I was like, I ended up staying about an hour and a half, but we busted it. And I was able, God gave me that today, because I have this kind of tension, I guess, inside myself of where I'm at in the business. I'm the estimator, and soon enough, with what I'm doing, I won't have a production role in the business. I'll be coaching other locations to success, which is awesome. But in a labor industry, probably any industry, a lot of times, and I don't think I'm wrong, but it's a possibility that I am, the labor, your team, they may not even be malicious about it, but they don't respect the people that don't do the labor a lot of the times. Not everybody, but I truly believe that you can't get to a level of respect with your team, and it's fine, because as long as they respect you as far as where you're going with the vision, whether or not you perform the labor, whatever. But when you can perform the labor with somebody, they realize, however it works in their brain, you get a certain level of respect that you wouldn't otherwise. Even if they respect you as a business owner, I'm sure they respect me. We have a great relationship. I have a great team, but the majority of them, all of them, haven't seen me in the field, and so that's a level of respect that I don't have with them. And I don't, I could say, well, I'll spend time with them. Then the business isn't growing because the sales aren't happening, and then making sure the business is doing what it needs to do, growth wise, and then protecting the business. Nobody's doing that. Jeremy's got his roles in operations, and he does get to, people see him in the field, so that's great. But today I had a good opportunity, a rare one, where I got to be with McKeith and exhibit extreme ownership, because he's going to be the Aiken general manager. That's what we're grooming him up to be. And we went in there. It was a bunch of hand weeding, and we got the majority of the job done, and left him. And I think he's going to finish it today, which was great. It was super great. I'm really happy what we were able to get done. Then I had to get back on the estimator trail, but glad God gave me that today. I got to show a team member, got to work with them in the field, which is a rare opportunity for me. But I just wanted to post today, and kind of off of what Mike was saying, when you're an entrepreneur, you're never really removed from anything, and everything is on you, no matter what, whose fault it is, or it's not even important. And so extreme ownership has been great. I've before I read the book, it was, I guess, how I was raised, but reading that book really gives you context and a lot more breadth of explaining it to others. But yeah, I really want to just thank, and I'm just so happy that I'm in a place like Mike and Liz and Lonnie. They're all, Mike, owns the company. He's got 85 locations. He's got other businesses, inside this industry. He's doing great, and he exhibits extreme ownership. He's doing estimates. He's out there answering calls. He's doing things that most people, when they get to the level where he's at, would not be doing. And I appreciate you. Liz, I know you're right there with him. Lonnie, Lee's holding it down. And yeah, that's all I wanted to share today. It's kind of a little bit of a rant, but that's where we're at. And I will talk to y'all. I'm headed to Jacksonville tomorrow to go pick up a mower, and gonna take that opportunity to bring my family with me, go see a beach, and then come back home Sunday. So y'all have a great weekend, and go out there and get after it.